Hi, and welcome to another episode of From Steve's Kitchen. I'm Steve. This is my kitchen. Today we got a pretty good cook for you. We're going to do a kind of like a summer barbecue. We are doing pulled pork. So I got a nice big pork shoulder, actually a couple of pork shoulders. I'm going to season up. We're going to inject with some flavoring, season up, throw them on the smoker for about 12 hours, and see what we come out with. So stay tuned and let's get started.
Okay, our ingredients for this include obviously our pork shoulders, okay, bone-in pork shoulder, and we have our spices. Our barbecue sauce is just going to come into play at the end. We have salt, pepper, garlic, onion powder, parsley, oregano, basil, smoked paprika, and a little bit of chili powder. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make our rub. We use some brown sugar. We have some basil, onion powder, oregano, chili powder, pepper, salt, garlic, some parsley, and some paprika. So I'm going to put it in a bowl, mix it up, and then rub it over the pieces of meat. Okay, let's get our first piece of pork on. We'll get some of this on and get it ready for the smoker. Okay, here's our first piece of pork. So again, we're just going to take some of this dry rub that we made and just get a little on top. And just go ahead and get a good coating all over. We're going to do one more step before we put this on the smoke. Okay, so what we're going to do is I have a glass of apple cider here, and we have our flavor injector. We're going to suck up some apple cider and inject it into the pork to keep it nice and moist, also give it an apple flavor. We're using a mix of both apple and cherry smokewood on the smoker, so this will give a nice flavor and just help keep that meat help keep the pork moist throughout the cook, because this is going to cook for about 12 to 13 hours. Okay, so both pieces of meat are prepped and ready to go. When we put this on the smoke, these shoulders have like a thick layer of skin and fat on the bottom. We make sure we put that side down because it acts as a protector. If anything should flame up, it doesn't burn the pork itself. It just goes after that, and it's very thick. That way everything stays nice and moist and it doesn't get overcooked or burn or anything like that. What we're also going to do is I have a little probe here that's going to hook up and tell me what the temperature of the meat is. For now, I'm just going to stick it in the larger of the two. And that way we can monitor this as we go along. Oh, there's a ball there. Okay, so let's finalize everything and we'll bring it on outside. Okay, so we moved outside. The sun did start coming up a little bit. You're gonna have to give me some light out here. So right now we're running about 225, 250. We're gonna open this up a little bit more just to get a little bit more heat. So you get a good amount of smoke coming. Like I said, I do have a mix of cherry wood and apple wood chunks on top of our charcoal, which will give us that nice smoke and really good flavor. So let's go ahead and get the meat on here. One. Number two. Range that a little bit. Okay, there we go. Gotta let that come back up to temperature a little bit, and then we're gonna let it go probably about 12 to 13 hours. It's something that size. We're probably looking about 12 to 13 hours, looking for an internal temperature between 200 and 210 degrees. That way everything in there just melts away, and then we can shred it real easily. So at this point, we'll check on it every once in a while, but about 13 hours, we'll go on to the next step. Okay, so it's been on the smoke for almost 12 hours now. Let's take a look and see how it looks. Now we're talking. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to let it go for just another couple of minutes. Let me close this up. We're going to let this go for just a couple more minutes. We're going to pull it out. We're going to wrap it up in aluminum foil. We're going to then wrap it up in a nice blanket. Keep it warm. We're going to let that sit for about an hour. What that's going to allow it to happen is all the moisture in there to just kind of reset in there. And then we'll throw it into a pan, grab our forks and start pulling and add our barbecue sauce. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Okay, so we get an internal temperature of about 215 degrees, which is about right where we want. So what we're going to do is one at a time. I'm going to pick it up, move it over to my tray, wrap it up in foil. Okay, so we got that. We're going to wrap it up now. Okay, so we have both of our pork shoulders wrapped up in foil. We're going to put them in the blanket, wrap them up, and let them sit for about an hour. Okay, so at this point what we're going to do is bring in our pork inside, let it sit for about an hour or so. We'll throw it in the trays. I got a couple of nice size forks. We'll start shredding it, mix in some barbecue sauce, and technically we're ready to eat. So come on back. Okay, so it's been about an hour since we wrapped it up in the foil and the blanket. I've now taken it out of the blanket. We're going to cut it out of the foil and start shredding it up. Woo, look at that. Okay, there you go. Let's take a look at that. That looks pretty good. So now we're going to take our forks and start shredding. And you can see it's coming right apart. It's been a little over an hour and you can see it's still smoking real good, nice and hot. Wrapping it up in the blanket really does help. Keeps all that in, keeps all the moisture together. And we'll start pulling out the bones as we go along.
And once you get this all shredded, I'll take some, you take some of your favorite barbecue sauce. In this case, we're going to be using Sweet Baby Ray's. That's a barbecue sauce I use. So we're going to dump that in, mix it up, and it'll be good to go. So let's get this shredded up. This part, there's little pieces of bone. We obviously have a big shoulder bone right here. Almost perfectly clear, or clean, I should say. Still hot, too. Okay, so we got the first one just about shredded up. We're going to start opening up the second one and get that in there as well. Boy, I wish you guys can smell this, and I wish you guys can taste this. There we go. Shreds right up. Oh, because we got it just about shredded up. Time to start adding some barbecue sauce. Just as we mix it, continue to shred. Okay, a little bit more barbecue sauce in there. Mix it up. And we're going to serve this up tomorrow, as usual. And we're going to serve it with some slider rolls, coleslaw, pickles, and some chips. That'll make a great lunch. So again, this is like a really easy recipe to do, and it's just a matter of time and knowing your smoker. I definitely recommend, if you're smoking it, definitely do some practice with some other meats and get working on it. But this is really a good one to practice with because it's very forgiving. There's really no such thing as overcooking it, especially when you're going to cook it about 12 hours as is. You're just you're looking for that internal temperature, on about 210, 215, something like that. You're not going to dry it out really, but it's just going to hold its flavor real well. All right. So it looks like we got this mixed up pretty well. We'll add a little bit more barbecue sauce tomorrow as we spin it up. A little bone fragment. All right. So at this point, I think what we're going to do is wrap this up, get it in the fridge, and ready for tomorrow. Okay, so that's going to be it for now. I'm going to wrap this up, throw it in the fridge, and we'll come back tomorrow. And when you have it all heat up, and put it on the rolls and have a sandwich. Stay tuned. Okay, so here we are the next day. We have our pulled pork all set, heat up, ready to go. You can see we have our slider rolls, we got some coleslaw, pickles, and of course some chips to the side there. So again, it's a very long cook, about 12-13 hours on the smoker, plus your prep and your post-smoke stages that need to happen. But it's a pretty easy recipe. I hope you try it. Thanks very much for watching, and stay tuned to see what comes next from Steve's Kitchen. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks very much. God bless you.
Thank you. Or take a shower and get all the bookies out.
Obviously going to edit out the conversation about the boogers.